my gosh, it is week 7. Can you believe it? We only have this week and then next week. And your course ends by Friday, March 9th, which is not this Friday, but next Friday. So we have this week and next week. So everybody make sure that you are finishing strong. All right, so we are covering chapters 13 and 14, which you may notice are the last two chapters in this textbook. We're going to be doing some other things next week to kind of wrap up the chapter, to wrap up the course. But this week we're going to be focusing on the last two chapters, which look at divorce and subsequent step families and mixed families and what all nuclear families, what all those different kinds of families look like as a result of the divorce rate that we have. All right, so in chapter 13, we're going to be looking more at specifically divorce and the consequences that come with divorce. So I really want you to kind of take a look. I've listed a few things on the discussion board that I want you to rank your feelings of how divorce impacts each of those, including like child support payments, how it impacts the children, all of those kinds of things. Now, some of you may have some personal experience with divorce. Your parents may have gone through a divorce. Each of my parents actually went through a divorce before they had me. So I have a brother, an older brother from my mom's first marriage, and I have two sisters from my dad's first marriage, but I'm the only child from my mom and dad. So I didn't really live in a divorced family as much as I lived in, kind of a step family type situation with a half brother and etc. So many of you may have come from the same type of experience. Some of you may come from an intact family where there has been no divorce. So kind of giving an indication of your feelings of each of the different things that I have listed, and then explaining what the book says that will support kind of your viewpoint on each of those. And then in chapter 14, the discussion board is more on single parenting, remarriage, step families. So again, kind of looking at and more specifically identify what type of family you came from, and then the pros and cons that you have experienced in your family. And again, you don't need to go into a lot of detail about, if your family had financial difficulties, for instance, as a result of a single parent family. You can go into as much detail as you felt comfortable. What did that mean? Did that mean that you couldn't always have a new car, or did that mean that you had trouble making the rent, or do you want to just tell me that y'all just had financial issues? So I don't want you to share any more than you feel comfortable with, because again, you're going to be sharing this with the whole group. So kind of again, the pros and cons of each, and then when you reply to the post, you need to find somebody who grew up in a different type of family than you did. So if you grew up in a single parent family, then you might need to find somebody who grew up in a step family or who grew up in an intact family, and then kind of compare and contrast what their experience was versus your experience. And then finally, for your journal entry, I want you to go on the internet, or you can shuffle through some magazines in a doctor's office and find an article about divorce and how to deal with divorce, tips, questions and answers, suggestions on parents. How do you deal with your children? Kids, how do you deal when your parents are having a divorce? Find some kind of article. It does not need to be scholarly based. It can be out of a parenting magazine. It can be out of Vogue. It can be, wherever you want to find it. But you do need to include the link to whatever you find. It can be fun, it can be funny, it can be a cartoon, it can be a comic strip, just some sort of media outlet related information. So social media, Facebook, Snapchat, wherever you want to find it, Twitter. I don't know, do they do articles on Snapchat? I don't know that I know the answer to that. I know they do on Twitter. So wherever you can find it, just again, include a link, and a link that I can open if I decide that I want to read the article or take a look at the cartoon, etc. And then analyze that article, kind of compare and contrast what it says in that article to what your textbook says about step families, divorce, etc., all that kind of stuff. So be sure and include again the link. If you don't include the link, points will be deducted. So make sure that you include that in your journal entry. So hope everybody's having a great week. And can't believe we're almost at the end. So hang in there. Make sure you're finishing strong. Make sure you are referring to the textbook. I'm really looking for that, and I'm taking off more and more points each week if that is not done. So make sure you are staying connected to the information in the course. And as always, let me know if you have any questions. Have a great week. Look forward to hearing from you.